Good afternoon and welcome. My name is John Murphy. I'm a board member at Actors Theater of Indiana. and welcome to Lunch Break with ATI. Today, we're honored to have Kathy Guider with us. She's an ATI board member. And let me remind everybody, usually Cynthia Collins does this, and Cynthia's out traveling, so I'm sitting in. So I hope everybody can bear with me. So welcome, Kathy.
Thank you.
We're so happy that you're here. I'm a fairly new board member, and you've been on the board member for a couple of years, so maybe you can start off by telling us on what brought you to ATI, and how the heck did you get here?
How did I get here? So in 2018, started a business, and our PR person was Meg of Meg and Associates. And Meg does the PR for Actors Theater of Indiana, and she's great at her job. And so getting to know Meg led us to getting to know about Actors Theater of Indiana and coming to see some plays. And it was just a short trip after that to joining on the board.
Well, you know what? We have a lot in common because my coming to this board and transition was Meg also. So we have a connector there. So you had a really interesting career. Why don't you tell us a little bit what your career was, how you started, why you got into, I'm throwing a lot of questions right now, why you got into it, and then we'll take it from there. So tell us a little bit about your career.
Okay, I think I'm probably an anomaly on the board of how people got here career-wise. But I was a FBI special agent for 23 years. Prior to that, I was a police officer for 9.5 years. So I went from police to FBI, and I was stationed in Indianapolis and had a wonderful career with the FBI, fighting crime, putting bad folks in jail, and all that kind of fun stuff.
So how do you prepare to become an FBI? I know you were a police officer, but did you want to be that when you were growing up? Did you study that in college? Tell us a little bit about that.
I did. My father was a police officer.
Oh, that's
And
great.
seeing my dad every day come home, and the funny thing was, it was all about service to my dad, you know, and he would tell you how many people he helped that day, whether he got somebody into a locked car or he, you know, helped reunite people. For a long time, he was at the Greater Cincinnati International Airport. And so he helped a lot of people. And I just thought that's what police work was about. And one day somebody asked me about my dad and how many arrests he made. And I was like, oh, my dad doesn't make arrests. My dad helps people. Coming to find out, my dad just didn't tell us about the arrest part. So I always saw it as a service. And when I was in all-girls Catholic high school, I told the nuns, I'm going to be a police officer, and I'm going to have a K-9 unit, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go help people. Like my dad did. And so that's kind of what got me into it, having seen my dad as my role model, because like I said, it was all about service. And from that 10 years with the police department, I was at a career fair for the police department, trying to get people to come to the police department, and the FBI was at the table next to us. And I started talking to the FBI, and I was like, well, that sounds like fun. You know, you get to travel around the U.S., work cases on a bigger level. So next thing you know, I was applying to the FBI.
So was your dad very proud that you took that career path?
My dad, everybody, if you knew my dad, you knew what I did for a living, because my dad was so proud, and he would tell people, and I'd always be like, Dad, no, it's okay, it's okay.
Kind of like the family business.
Yes, he was very proud. Now, he did try to bribe me with law school. He wanted me to go to law school because he knew what police work was like, shift work, you know, that you can get hurt and things like that. So I took the LSATs.
LSATs.
Yeah, and I did it for him, but I was like, Dad, I just want to be a police officer. And so I did that, and when I made sergeant on the police department, my dad got to pin my sergeant stripes on me.
Oh, boy.
When I went to
Once in a lifetime.
Yeah. That was neat. And then when I was at the FBI, my parents were there for my graduation, and you know, he was just a beaming, proud dad.
Everybody's proud.
Yeah.
So when you think back to being a police officer or being in the FBI, is there any one or two stories that you can possibly share with us? Maybe a funny one, okay? And I don't know if there's much fun. You have a smile on your face. I think you enjoyed your career. And maybe maybe one story you might be able to share with us that's
Well, I'll
not
tell
not
you-
confidential.
No, I'll tell you, one that I'm very proud of is after 9/11. I was on the evidence team with the FBI here in Indianapolis, and there's 8 of us on a team, and you go out and you collect evidence at crime scenes. So after 9/11 happened, we went first to Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where the plane crashed there, and we worked there for like 2 weeks, picking up evidence, plane pieces, just various different types of evidence, so helping on that. And then later that January, went to New York and helped recover evidence. A lot of it was taken from Ground Zero over to Staten Island.
Did you go to Ground Zero?
We did, yeah. Did not work there because, like I said, they were taking
Sure.
stuff and moving it over, but we did go. And, at that time, you couldn't help it. I couldn't help but cry.
So that would have been October, November?
That would have January.
And
That many teams were going and that much was happening that it was still in January of the following year, that we were still there.
yeah.
Working on
Boy.
evidence.
Well, we have a little bit in common. I'm from New York, and I had the opportunity to work in the World Trade Center back in the 70s. No connection to 9/11. So anyway, you sound like you did great work, and sad day for America, but we had great people like yourself helping, cleaning up, finding out what happened and who did it, and all
Yeah.
that other. So
Because
Thank you.
it's the little pieces sometimes that when you put them all together. I always said, my job was like working puzzles. You find a piece, you put it together with the next piece, and then when the puzzle's done, you're ready to go to court or the next phase. Because years later, went back to Washington D.C. and all the evidence that had been collected that was going to be needed for trial was in a warehouse. And went back and helped make sure everything was where it was supposed to be, so that when the trial
Interesting.
started, you could say, I need, evidence number whatever, and then somebody could, make sure. Followed it through to that part.
what a contribution. That's great. That's great.
A lot of people did a lot of work.
So a career well had. When you look back, you feel complete, satisfied,
It was a
happy?
great career, yes.
Wow, that's terrific.
I still, when I would
Not
drive-
everybody can say that.
No, they can't. And
Yeah.
I would drive in and I would think, I'd see the big seal on the side of the building in Castleton, and I would think, wow, I can't believe, I get to work here. They're paying me to do this. So it was a good career.
That means you didn't work a day in your life. You enjoyed every day. Super. So let's talk about ATI a little bit. I know Meg kind of hooked you in like she did many of us, and Meg's a terrific lady. What do you enjoy about being on the Actors Theater of Indiana board?
It is so different for me. Not coming from a theater background. Yes, I was in some plays in high school, but that's not a theater background. That's a 1 or 2 time thing. So coming in as kind of like the outsider, having that fresh set of eyes that when they say something, I'm asking the question like, hey, what does that mean? And it explains a lot to me, but then it helps, I think, other people too maybe see with a new perspective, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And how does this process? Okay, well maybe we could tweak this. So it's been interesting. It's been a learning experience for sure.
And your contribution, I think what I'm hearing is you're bringing the business side to this
Yes.
and asking the questions that they need. Because we have actors, we have terrific actors. We have folks who are part of theater operations on the board. We have a couple of business people, and of course we have you. So that's just terrific. So talk about your background in music, and you had said something about you did a little acting in high school. Did
I
that
did
go through college?
Nope, just high school, did some plays, and I was always a background person, in, I'm trying to think, a play with 12 Angry Men, 12 something men.
12 Angry Men,
Men.
I believe.
It was about a court case.
Yes.
Yes. So I was
One of my
the,
wife's favorite movies.
I was one of the 12. So not a starring role, had 1 or 2 lines. I was a poppy seed in Yellow Brick Road and a couple, ancillary little things. But
Yep.
it was fun to be a part of it, help out on the behind the scenes before the play starts.
Yep.
So little things like that. But definitely nothing like Cindy, Judy, and Dawn.
Yeah. Well, I have 2 granddaughters who are working with CIDE, and maybe one day you can talk to them about the parts that they play.
Yes.
That's great. That's great. So you have a company. Tell us a little bit about that, and you sponsor ATI.
Yes.
Tell us the connection.
Well, so my company is Veracity IIR, and then we are a private investigation security consulting company. Myself and another retired agent started the company in 2018, right after we both retired. And that's where, like I said, met Meg to help us do a little PR. And so then by going to seeing the plays, there was a play coming up, Murder for Two. And they were looking for a sponsor. And it was just like, well, what a better, match here. A private investigation, company should be the
Murder
ones
for Two.
to,
Yeah.
help support this play.
Funny how that works.
Yes, so we did, and it was fun. We brought lots of friends and clients, to come see the play that we sponsored, and we look forward to doing it again in the upcoming season with another murder mystery kind of play.
Well, that's outstanding. So, we're always looking for board members, okay? And if you had advice to the people out there that if they were interested in sitting on a board, and especially ATI, what advice?
Theater world, like I said, I had no experience, but Meg helped me, over that fear, and I had lunch with Jim Riley, who kind of explained a few things. He was the executive director at the time, and it was like, no, we want, some fresh opinions and somebody who's not, so deep in the trenches and seasoned. So they accepted this, outsider kind of thing, and I came in, and like I said, I've enjoyed it. I see things more from the business side rather than the creative side, which I think helps in some ways, making sure that, we have budgets and we sticking with our budgets and
Yes,
things of that
so
nature.
important.
But, the creative side over there, picking great shows. So it's been a great experience. I would say step out and try it. We all have some talents and abilities, and, our opinions can matter.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in today to Lunch Break. And from my standpoint, ATI is an incredible organization. And we thank you for your time. And Kathy, thank you for your time. And hearing about your wonderful career was outstanding.
Yes.
So
And
thank you
let's
very
make
much.
sure everybody knows our season tickets are on sale now, and to go out there and
Yes, sir.
get your season tickets.
You're starting to sound like Meg. Keep going. Yes, that's great. That's great. We need season tickets. We need more folks there because I've been to 2 or 3 shows now, and they do an incredible, incredible job. You're
Yeah.
absolutely correct.
Like you said, Broadway in your backyard. You're going to see a great production
Right here in Carmel, Indiana.
right here.
Yes. Thank you, folks. We appreciate your time and hope to see you next week.